let's get this show on the road here. Well, what you can see in front of you are obviously some flags, although right now I'm obviously holding some sticks in the field of vision right now. Now you might be thinking, hang on, the sound here is just a bit odd. There doesn't seem to be any kind of feedback from whatever he's doing on the screen there. And the reason being is that I'm having to re-record the audio again. I had a slight technical issue with the recording software. Due to the nature of what I'm actually recording here, I couldn't reshoot the footage. You'll see why when I actually go through everything, because after all, it's an opening. Yeah, that's right, it's an opening of various different things. I'm just looking at, I was being pedantic enough with my original voiceover work before that, you know, I've got enough time to sort of waffle on a bit aimlessly at this point. But as you can see, these are flags, and the reason there's some flags here is that, well, 3 for £1, who can argue with that? They are from Poundworld, the world where everything weighs £1, or some such rubbish like that. And as you can see, they're very well and truly packed in quite nicely. Yeah, I had to give it a great big thorough waffle around before it actually got free, but there you can see, it's an England flag, as you can tell by the colours, and of course the word England written for those who don't realise what the flag of St George looks like, or which country uses it, even though St George had nothing to actually do with England. And on the back of the flag, of course, you can see it's only printed one way. It's that cheap. Yes, it's only costing £1, so let's just wave it around. And of course, around the time of filming, and about the time that I'm actually releasing this, Britain has decided to leave the EU. And it was just somewhat coincidental that the week before the vote, I picked these flags up. I'm not going to tell you which way I voted, that's private. But, yeah, there you go, 3 England flags, because that's probably all that's going to be left of the UK after Scotland has its next own second referendum. Northern Ireland will probably finally be given back to Ireland, and who knows what will happen to Wales. Yeah, seriously, who knows what will happen to Wales. Yeah, I don't think anybody's thought that one through. Anyhow, off with the flags. What have we got next? Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, I must have been looking for something at this point. Also getting distracted by a phone call. I can't remember. Oh yes, it's that horrible mask. This celebrity mask from mymask.co.uk. Look, even the pound shops can have cheap deals on it's going for 25p. But there's one very good question I've got here. Who the hell is it supposed to be? There's nothing on any of the documentation here, and by documentation of course I mean packaging. There's nothing on it all, apart from a product code, the barcode, some writing about who this came from, the string to wrap it around your the back of your head and possibly pull down and have wrenched around your neck so that somebody can strangle you with it. There's nothing to tell you who it actually is, and I've got no idea who it is, because from the looks of it, it's some millennial pop store thing. It doesn't look like Bieber's. It doesn't, you know, it actually looks like a reasonably decent attempt at a human being, but unlike people who seem to be getting more and more out of control, and depending on who you talk to. Yeah, absolutely no idea. You've got the barcode, you've got those empty eye holes that are just sort of boring into my soul at this point. I mean, imagine going around actually wearing that mask. You wouldn't want to. You'd be getting claustrophobic just from the sheer lack of proper field of vision. And this looks even spookier looking at it from the front here. Those holes are very disconcerting. I imagine that if you were actually wearing this and somebody else was looking at you and you were trying to pose as a statue or something like that, they could reasonably say that the eyes were just dead. Playing cards. I don't know why I picked this up. Probably because it was cheap and only cost £1, and I'm short on decks of cards right now. Yeah, it's from our new friends at Blue Skies. It's waterproof and oh, I can't actually make that out at this point. What does that actually say? It says waterproof and something else. Well, it's supposed to be waterproof cards, so that probably means. Ooh, let's just make the footage bigger in the editing suite. There we go. Just angle a bit more, bit more. No, I can't make anything out. But I can tell you it's got a trademark on the Ace of Spades there. Maybe let me, you know, copyrighted the term before he died. Oh, no, I missed it. Actually, no, I'm not going to be able to do that, am I? No, it's just kept completely out of my frame of vision right now. Maybe I got... Oh, that's it. No, still couldn't read that. Oh, bugger. Well, that's just one of the problems. How am I supposed to actually open that? Not only can I not read the writing, even when I've maximised the screen in the editing suite, well, I suppose it's about time to bring in the next thing, this knife. And my god, I have actually now tested this knife out quite a bit more thoroughly on all kinds of stuff such as meat, cheese, bread, even a little bit of butter. It is actually a very, very good knife. The only real problem I had was getting it out of the packaging, because I didn't actually bring anything with me to cut things open with, such as a pair of scissors, which would have been quite a good idea when you think about it. So yeah, here I am, stuck terribly trying to get it open. I did actually hit on the idea of just trying to tear it out of its own packaging like that. It's not like this material would actually come in any use in future, but as you can see here, I managed to find that there's a seam along the edge there, and I managed to tear it apart with the thumb and fingers on my left hand. In case you don't know your left from your right, but yeah. So the plastic went quite easily, helped maybe just a little bit by this sheer strength of the blade itself. It doesn't really tend to bend much, it's not got much in the way of bend there, which I can't really recall is actually a good thing or a bad thing when it comes to knives. Not really too sure. And I did, of course, as you can see, manage to, sooner or later, pull the whole thing off. And there you go, just as evidence. Now, it is quite a solid thing, but the one thing I really noticed was that the discolouring on the actual packaging, not the packaging, on the knife itself, it just looks perpetually dirty, even though it's not actually dirty. That was fresh and clean, never before used. And it just has a sort of dirty look, as if though it's going to need a really good clean, which of course obviously it did clean it when I actually first started using it, but it just has a sort of pleasantly dirty look even afterwards, now that I'm, you know, dealing with everything afterwards. And of course, if you're wondering what that gesture was about, it was because ways to test knives for sharpness: do not run it against your own skin, do not do that at all, just gently scrape your finger across it, just gently, not hard. Gently, softly, you'll feel the edge, you will. And just as a little bit of a proof, yeah, you can see that it can actually cut quite well. Even at that point, it was cutting quite nicely. And then I decided to do a little bit of sawing. That didn't really seem to work too well, because it's just not really going to go. I should have really grabbed a piece of paper from the phone book or something like that, just done a cutting test like you see on all the knives and sword shells, where they just demonstrate the sharpness of the blade by slowly running it along. And this is a bit of a risky move here. Of course, I've checked my desk afterwards. It's not damaged in the slightest, but basically I only cut one of the two sections of plastic there, so yeah, that worked out quite nicely. There's a good degree of control there, and the tip itself, the actual tip, is nice and sharp as well. Anyhow, back onto the cards. It comes in this perfectly transparent little travel case, and yeah, I'm just humming and hawing, trying to see some way to open it. There we go. And I was actually quite impressed with that, because it actually makes quite a nice loud popping noise. That'll probably fade in time, but yeah, it did keep making quite a consistent popping noise every time I did that. And of course we've got the classic good old fashioned cellophane. Yep, as always, cellophane giving its traditional trouble of not really being that easy to open, but you don't really want it to be easy to open in all cases. I mean, if it was wrapping around food, you'd want it to actually wrap around food nicely and snugly and tightly and protect it. Now the cards themselves actually felt rather unusual. It felt like it had a bit of a grip to them, but also felt somewhat slippy, and I'm going to assume that's down to whatever they've done to make it waterproof, and whatever the other thing is that I can't recall and couldn't read on the at the angle. I'll have to drop a caption out at some point about what the other thing actually read as. At this point, by the time you're watching the video, that caption has probably been and gone, so I'm probably making myself looking a bit more of a fool than I already do for the complete disaster that has been this video. But all in all, quite impressed with that pack of cards. I think in general, when you try dealing with them, it does actually deal just a bit faster. It's like they've got no friction in some cards. And of course there's the knife, where I am threatening myself with the knife. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. What a good idea that was. Now there's another reason why everything's paused here. At this point I was looking for this. I'm not even sure how this is going to work at this point. I was thinking this was, at first when I saw it, one of those vuvuzelas from the World Cup that was in Africa. Good long time ago. My god, how many years have passed since that particular World Cup game. But it wasn't, it's just a good old fashioned horn, decked out in the colours of England, of course. And of course, it's got this little string, which of course you're supposed to wrap it around your neck. And of course, if somebody else gets sick of you blowing this down their ear hole, they could probably wrap it around your head. And of course, there's the problem of, since this is me doing ADR effectively, it's gone. Okay, the sound was gone. I had to cut there because of a technical problem. There was a slight problem with the recording apparatus, which is why everything fouled up. Okay, I've tried my best to recover the sound. The sound quality at this point was unusable, which is why, well, the sound quality from this point onwards was usable. The sound quality before was completely non-existent. So here I am with, I believe it's a final item on the list. Yes, it's 2 magnifying glasses of 2 different sizes. And the first thing I noticed as soon as I opened it up, the material is really, really cheap and nasty. I don't know if you'll be able to pick this up that well, but on one of them, the actual lip of the glasses is basically broken. And while it does do its job, it does actually magnify by its desired effect by 2, by 3. It's not really worth it, to be honest. I mean, you can also see the reflections of my new light rig as well in both of them. I've only got the one rig as well. Well, I can't recommend the glasses, but I do everything else. Bye bye.